Recording to this computer.
Starting right now. Okay. Here we go.
We don't have to. I mean, we can do whatever we want. It's our show.
I mean, we do run the show, so we can start whenever you want.
Exactly.
Oh, I guess if that's the case, then I'm going to hit record too.
Cool. Because the way this has been going.
You have to approve my recording, you know.
No one knows. And
it works.
Share the sound. You didn't share the sound.
No, I did not share the sound.
Let's stop and start over.
Stop recording.
Let's just start over.
Stop recording.
Welcome to Everyone Racers,
a show designed
for
low dollar racing
and an oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of Lemon Champ or Lucky Track Dog league you run.
SCCA or NASA.
We don't discriminate.
As long as you drive it hard and built it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussions,
tips, tricks, as well as news and notes
from the world of amateur endurance racing.
And whether it's on the spot,
hella sweet or lucky enough. Chrissy.
And I give you just the tip.
We're sure you'll giggle a little
and learn even less.
Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
And I'm Mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. Welcome to another Peugeot episode of our podcast. I know you're expecting this to be a worst version of the GM small block V8 at episode 305, but no, we're not wasting our time with a 305 because you really shouldn't. Like, they're the same price as a 350 and they're just worse. So anyway, yeah, we're not Dirty Mike and the boys. Apparently Gingerman Racers get that. I don't understand what Metal wrote there, but that's fine.
I will explain it. They have a 350 swapped RX-7 and it always blows up. And then they have to dig out their 305, which always finishes the race. So lately they've just started with the 305 and then they started turbocharging it because they want it to blow up and it won't.
Nice. Well, let's talk about better 305s like the Peugeot 305. It was a medium-sized car produced by the French automaker from 1977 to 1989. It was offered as a 4-door saloon, 5-door estate, and as a 3-door van derivative. Not rolling in your Pininfarina styled mid-size French car? Well, probably not, because despite its massive success, only 76 of them were reported to be on Britain's roads by February 2016. Now, there's a stat for you. They're probably all in Africa by now, because somehow Peugeots all live on in Africa and do great, and they love them. Anyway, our bingo card probably has more different potential combinations than the number of Peugeots in Britain. That's real world consumer advice. So give it a shot. I know.
Thanks for that.
So,
interesting.
Aside not working on French cars, what are you working on, Mental?
As we were discussing before the show started recording, I am in Oxnard, California. I've been here since Sunday night. For those of you that are playing the home game, the Miata averaged 31.5 miles per gallon.
Wow.
Running out here, mostly 80, but because I was going Sunday with the California traffic that's going back home from Vegas, I had some 40-mile-an-hour bumper stuff. Oxnard, lovely little town. Several, little sleepy seaside kind of a place, not in a lot of hurry. Most things close here about 8 o'clock.
Wow.
They've got good seafood. And it was Monday night, I did the most middle-aged thing ever. So I went and got some dinner at Neptune's Net, which I always try to go to. It's right down the road, Malibu. And driving home during sunset, I put the top down on the Miata and then drove down the Pacific Coast Highway in my midlife crisis sports car with the top down.
That sounds lovely.
Nothing wrong with that at all. That's fantastic.
No, that's awesome.
I recognize
Why is that
was
middle age?
I don't know, but I recognize that I was fulfilling some sort of stereotype. I did post that on the Instagram. So if you're interested, you can go see the sun reflecting off the hood of my strangely clean Miata, because I actually bothered to wash it before I came down here.
Wow, that too. What?
What? That's what worries me more than anything else is you wash the car.
Oh, I didn't want to be, screaming across the desert looking like a punk.
Oh,
you're better about it than Jeff, but not a whole lot.
Fair.
Oh, wow.
Awesome. Well, great.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Uh,
what I got.
Okay. Chris and I went to the beach this weekend, and which was lovely. We had a nice day. Came home early to do race prep. So that's what we'll be talking about this today. But we had a lot to do because we haven't been doing anything, and I kind of snuck up on us because we were all over the place this summer and just forgot that there was a race coming. Not forgot that there was a race coming. Remember there was a race coming, but forgot that we had a whole lot to prep and pack. But we're doing well. We leave tomorrow, so all's well. And
Yep. Trailer
that's
is all
Wednesday.
packed. Cars in the trailer. Car is running. Car doesn't need anything that I'm aware of. Mazda, it has a new tune on it that fortunately, really the biggest thing I wanted to do was lower the fan control, ECU controlled fan speed down to 200. That seems to be working. So that's nice. It'll help it to run a little cooler. And yeah, so aside from loading everything, I mean, the trucks have as packed as we can make it right now. Everything else is good. Even, make sure to check the trailer lug nuts and pressures. That's for Bill. So you make sure to do that before you do any significant
Great
trip. That's
idea.
good. Yep.
Well, and also
also-
the Lemons wrap-up
Top
video
tip.
for HPR showed up. And while they were the mini features of the two of you judging, they also mentioned the team that was bringing two cars and lost one of their trailers on the way to the racetrack to exactly that
Oh.
problem.
The bummer.
We haven't-
Let's
I
try to
watched the
avoid
video.
that. Yep. So what else I do? So the back door in our trailer, the loading door, when it opens, it sits in those little rubber bumpers. And our car has these, some previous owner put these aluminum flip up ramps that flip over to drive up onto the door instead of like the piece of plywood that most of them have. Problem is the ramps are taller than the door itself. So over time, that has really beat up the hinges and caused the screws that hold those on to pull out. So I was either going to have to cut down these ramps, which are nice TIG welded diamond plate, or I said, maybe I can space up the door bumpers. And I checked with some wood around and looks like it was about 3/4 inch. Well, I found a piece of scrap 1x, cut it into pieces, unscrewed the door bumpers, screwed the 1x in place. This is a test because the 1x isn't going to last forever, but I'm sure if it works well, it's going to stay on for quite some time until I maybe take them off with some epoxy on it or something so they hold up. But anyway, this is a test to see how it works. The car loaded up great with it. So that is a potential solution that I am excited about if it continues to work. Now, also had to move the Corvette. It was in front of the Mazda. I couldn't get Mazda out of the garage. The Corvette, I put a battery. The battery got dead over the winter, even though I had a maintainer on it. So then I put the good battery charger on it, and lo and behold, it started when I was bringing it out of storage garage a month ago. I put the battery maintainer back on, a different one, and it wouldn't start. Like the key, electricity came on. As soon as you turn the key, nothing. So I put the good charger on it for a few days. Same problem, nothing. So for those of you who ever had a C4 Corvette, the batteries are a pain in the butt
Oh my gosh.
to get out because
Somebody
they're
saw
on
a
the
little
side.
space and said, you know what?
Yeah.
Would fit right here. Just like right there.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
You have to undo a body
It's
panel
fine.
under the hood side and take the cruise control actuator off and stuff to get it out. Anyway, Napa warranty, so it didn't cost me much to replace and back in. And now the Corvette all is well, fortunately. So now it can operate again. So I can actually hopefully, finally take pictures and sell it because it's just been sitting here because we've been gone. Haven't had time to sell it.
Did you say that you had to move it? We had to move it to get the car out. Did you say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was blocking the Mazda in.
Right.
So it's a good excuse
we
to
had
do so.
to move it.
And I did. And the other thing I did is I used the tool that Chrissy got me for Christmas. It was on our Christmas shopping list. The amp meter that you plug into the automotive fuses to see where power drains are. And I found the power drain in this car, the only one that was pulling any power, was the courtesy and clock one, which is the one that leaves the lights on for a while after you shut the door. Well, it turns out there's a module, and those modules can go bad. So that's
and it would
before
look
going bad. I have no idea what I'm going to do about it, but I have narrowed it down to that so I can pull that fuse when I'm not driving the car. Anyway,
like wire a switch to it. I don't know.
yeah, who knows? Whatever. That's nice to know. That's
I
it.
did actually get snapped this shot. This is really for my co-host than anyone else. This is yesterday or Monday driving home.
Mm,
So
lovely.
That's a lovely shot of the sun.
Yes.
about to go behind the mountains and the PCH with a Miata hood, which you can tell because of the little way the fenders kick up on the edges.
Absolutely. All right.
Yep.
So y'all
Fantastic.
are- yeah. Chrissy,
what's
are we
next?
ready?
Sure we are.
Zoom gets worse every time. It's like they're building in a Chrissy filter. It's not right.
Oh, I'm sorry. News and notes time.
That
Excellent.
worked.
Okay.
It started out as a very subtle threat, but the Las Vegas Grand Prix did confirm last week that they expect any venue with a view of the event, the Las Vegas Grand Prix, to pay a licensing fee. Mick Akers with the Las Vegas Review-Journal published confirmation last week. Formula One says it is standard practice. If you've ever been to the Las Vegas Strip, there are any number of restaurants, clubs, pools, and all kinds of stuff that are going to have a view of the Strip. The actual race is taking place on Saturday night, November the 16th. What Formula One is saying is that they want $1,500 per person based on the maximum occupancy of the venue. So a restaurant or a club that has 1,500 seats would have to pay $2.25 million, regardless of how many of those guests can actually see the race. If they don't, Liberty Media, F1's parent company, stated that they will post barricades, stands, and light stanchions shining into the venues that will block that view. Business owners are obviously not happy, and Clark County Commissioner Michael Naft, who now has my vote, has said that it is important to recognize this race is taking place on a public right-of-way, and it should have an opportunity to benefit everyone involved. More as this develops, but the link to the story is in my show notes. I fear most of those places are going to lose. It would appear that my friends have frozen. It is completely possible. Okay.
We're kind of here. We're trying to figure out who's giga blasting, so that might be a thing.
Yeah. Well, that's why I turned my video off. And
Okay.
It's possibly me because I'm using hotel internet.
No, because Chrissy would seize up when you did too for me.
Okay.
So it's something here. Anyway.
Okay. This is bullshit. I'm not surprised even a little bit. I'm annoyed. And yeah.
I am too. It's counterproductive to the mission that they're trying to accomplish in Las Vegas of
But are they?
fans. And they're cutting out the very people that could very enthusiastically support that sport.
Yeah, it just feels like one of those F1 things. Like you have to pay for everything. Can't have fun.
Who knew? Vegas money grab? Like seriously, like Vegas and money grabs go like.
Yeah, but we're the ones grabbing the pork. Yeah. We're the ones grabbing the money, and they're trying to grab money. We have an entire museum dedicated to the last group of people that tried to shake down Vegas. So
I don't know.
Well, I feel like everyone in Vegas is just used to someone trying to put a hand in their pocket.
Well, right. And okay, besides Vegas, F1, like you have to pay bajillions of dollars for tickets. I can see people saying, well, I don't really care, but I'm just going to go out to this restaurant and see if I can see something great. If I can't, fine. I see a car go around. Like I can see them just doing that and say, I'll go out to dinner to this place or get drinks at this place and not pay
I'm sure.
But
I'm sure the venues are going to be charging a cover price if you have a good spot on the strip. They're just going to let people come in and drink drinks while they watch the race.
Right.
Well, and so I feel like the compromise is in there somewhere. Like some of the places you've got a great view of the strip. There's one called Beer Park. It is in the Paris Casino, and they are actually charging $5,500 per person for a 3-day ticket, which is bottomless food and drink. And yeah, probably well drinks, and you got to pay a little extra. But at any given point, maybe 25% of that venue is going to be able to watch the race. But there should be some sort of compromise. I can understand Formula One wanting to make a little bit of money off of it. It's their product, but $1,500 per head, especially if maybe 12 people can stand at a railing and watch the race, just seems a little much.
Yep.
Oh, well.
F1 just wants all the monies. Okay. All right. Enough about F1. While the BR-GR Toyota Baru twins might be getting a turbo, the engineer responsible
They're definitely not.
might be getting a turbo. The engineer responsible for the Miata said in an interview, the Miata will not be. Dave Coleman was quoted in Car Buzz saying the Miata is a system. The whole car is optimized for the current power. Coleman, who owns a turbo MX-5, a supercharged one, and a motorcycle powered one, admits that if the Miata owner want a turbo, the aftermarket is there for them, adding, "There's a robust and healthy aftermarket, and we're happy to see it out there. We're happy for this car to be a canvas for people to do crazy things." He summarized with the kept it simple philosophy. That's how people manage to make a car that's modern and safe and can be sold in 2024 to be as light as a 1993 Miata. So Miata, gonna Miata. Link in our notes.
Yep.
I'm happy. Yeah. As a
Lemons racer.
Miata owner. Yeah.
Yep. Hey, we're
I
not
did
the only
not know
ones.
he was a lemon racer. That's awesome.
Yeah. Eyesore.
Oh, of course.
Seriously?
Yes.
Yep.
Never put the two, did not make that connection.
Yeah.
Duh.
Dave from Eyesore. That's okay.
That's
That's
the
that Dave.
Miata. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Okay. He
Yeah.
knows
Good-
a thing or two about fast
Good
cars.
pick though. You
Yeah.
did a good pick. Shout
Yep.
out.
Good. Hey, we're not the only ones that really excel at handing out bad advice. You most likely know that cars over 25 years old are eligible for import, and the most in demand of them is typically the Nissan Skyline. But why be like everyone else? Rob Sass at Haggerty suggests an alternative. Quote, "If you're looking for an input that stands out, there's another model that's even more outrageous, certainly as fast, and also found fame in those video games from the early 2000s. It's not on the radar for many collectors yet, but it deserves to be in the conversation. It is the TVR Cerbera 4.5. Why not? Also an island country. Left-hand drive is potentially available. I think that's only for the exports to the mainland Europe, potentially, but a lot of them are right-hand drive. And hey, it's fast and rear drive and has a 4.5-liter, 425 horsepower flat plane crank V8 and weighs 1,000 pounds less than the Skyline. Hey, it's a thought-provoking exercise. Link in our notes. Why not a British car full of unobtainium parts from a car company that no longer exists?
Oh, it's pretty
Yeah.
though.
I think we saw one of those at PVGP last weekend.
I'm pretty sure we did.
In the race paddock. There
It
a
was
green one.
it wasn't the
Yeah.
Sabera, but it was a TVR. Yes.
It was a very similar looking, similar era TVR.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And, well,
Well,
it's
subject to
TVR.
TVRs.
Yeah. Long hood, big engine.
Yeah.
That's just how they build cars there. It's proper.
A TVR 280i Tasman is about the only Lemons car I would actually be willing to build again at this point. I don't know interest in building another car, but if a Tasman dropped in my lap, be tough not to.
You'd be right to
Yeah.
let that be tough.
Speaking of British cars, last week we had a sweet Lotus Spec Racer. I really like that car. That car looked great. This week, how about a Spitfire? 1964 Spitfire race car. Quote, "The car has to go. There's no room left at the end." I think a lot of us can sympathize with that. As mentioned in the ad, it has some damage from its last race. Yeah, little looks like someone kissed a guardrail with that right front. The whole bonnet's a little bent there. But said that the car runs and drives fine. With the sale, you get a new front bonnet that will need some finishing and some paint and fitting. You'll get the original front clip with the hinges. It's got a lot of new bits. It has four logbooks. It's been a racer since the mid-90s, starting in Texas and Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana. It's currently 20 miles southwest of Indy. The ads get some good pictures. Car's only $7,500. It's a nice, easy way into vintage racing for a car that is simple, easy, great parts availability, and easy to work on, especially when you flip that bonnet up, you get the whole access to everything.
Yes.
Awesome.
And while you're there, check out that Racing Junk Pro membership. Use code POD23. Get it just cheap and just make yourself happy scrolling. I almost replaced this with an ad for a vintage 71 Corvette. $20,000, and you could just scream America every time you take that thing to the track. Amazing.
Yep.
Oh,
Even though somebody in their Odyssey is probably faster, you just literally will not care.
You will not care. Have a mullet sewn into your helmet. It'll be fantastic.
Yep.
upcoming races.
Lemons is at Thompson. More on that in a minute. 88 cars, which that's a nice number for Thompson.
Mhm.
Like it's busy,
I'll
but
take that.
not crawling over each other. So that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Of those, 15 are BMWs, which is, I'll say, a reasonable ratio of 15
Sure.
of 88. That's okay. They're still boring, but that's okay. 6 Miatas, 7 Hondas, 3 Porsches, and to quote Judge Eric, lots of experienced teams and cars in this one. 36 teams have run more than 10 races with their piles, 13 teams with 20 plus, and 9 totally new teams. I wonder where we fit in the Mazda. We haven't had that car for a while, but we've sure been there for a long time.
I'm pretty sure he's looking
I'm betting he's putting you with the 13, the 10 plus.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Even
Yep.
with regardless of the car. I would think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Although, do
hey,
we
well,
have 3 cars? Do we count as 3 different people?
probably?
For
Who knows?
Eric's purposes, because he is a data purist.
Yes.
Yes.
he is.
Yeah, there's 3
Big-
separate entries, and that's probably what he goes.
Got it. Okay. Well, I guess that helps a little bit. I'm not sure. Yes. All right. So more on that in a minute. Champ is at High Plains, 25 cars. Wow. How far? High Plains is not very far.
No, High Plains, Colorado. Remember, we were
Yes.
just there. Like,
Yes.
there's a lot of room on that track.
There
for
is,
25
right. That
cars.
is a track day. And yes, it is. What is it? 2+ miles, 2.7 is what I
Yeah.
think. So 9 of them BMWs, 7 Miatas, no Hondas, 1 Porsche, and the rest a 88 VW Cabrio from Cousin Racing, which is a Lemons Group, a Mini Cooper, and the rest are all Camaros and Firebirds. One of those is a dang old Camaros, is a Racing for Heroes we met at PRI, and one of them Milan Miata is driven by Eric and Ian Peterson of Dead Pedal, Maserati, and Apex Adjacent, which we saw them when they were, or saw Eric when we were, or Ian when we were there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Well, enjoy the room, guys. You're gonna
Enjoy
have
it. You might not see.
10
You're gonna go up and down a hill, and you're gonna be like, "Oh wait, there's a car over there. That's good. Good. We're still
every
racing.
car
That's
has
great."
its own 10th of a mile.
I feel like
Just
that's going to
for-
play into Ian's hand because he's got a lot of track time at High Plains.
Good.
Well, good luck to them.
It's a lovely track. You're gonna be
Mhm.
able to spend a lot of lovely time on it by yourself. You're like, "Yay, I passed a car." Haven't seen anybody for a while. That's all right. There'd be plenty of room in your paddock for you, so that's good. Maybe just
Mhm.
about everybody gets a garage pod. Anyway,
Well, and everyone gets to stay at the hotel too, and everyone still gets seated at the Mexican restaurant.
sure.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Listener feedback. Okay, on Facebook, DJ914 was happy to have Jeff back, if only briefly, adding about the PVGP. I definitely want to go to this next year.
Now, he wasn't alone about Jeff. Our good buddy Mike K asked Jeff, so do the mob still own the concrete in there? Asking for a friend. He did actually have some specific advice for Jeff regarding the insulation for his soon to be built garage. It is very intelligent, as Mike is an engineer type, and includes the phrase, quote, using your child as free labor, calling it bonding experience.
I love that.
Yep. They heal quickly at that age. So he wasn't alone about Pittsburgh either. Ron said 80% of Chris's interview. Ron said this? Oh, yeah. This one must be Al.
I'm sorry, Al.
Al,
Right.
yeah.
It's been a long week. I'm sorry,
We
Al.
Yeah,
didn't
it's
talk
okay.
to Ron, but okay.
Al said 80% of Chris's interview with me on Sunday was him trying to get me to laugh. That could have gone way further off the rails if I wasn't such a professional.
You
and that
are
is true.
so right. You're so
Yep.
right. What a great interview. Ashley Doyle said, so happy everything went well over with the Pittsburgh Grand Prix. I'll have to check more out of the YouTube from the event. You should do that.
And Wally P said, quote, I think I finally understand cultural appropriation after seeing Pack. I also apologize, and this is me, for the initial misspelling of Pittsburgh, which apparently I did all weekend. I don't know why my phone doesn't like the H on the end of Pittsburgh, but
Well,
I
it's
did
probably because you spelled it once and it was like, oh, you must mean no
close
H.
enough. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that Pittsburgh.
And it is funny. So Wally can't be too mad because I had dinner with him and his wife Sunday after the Grand
good.
Prix at
Oh, that's great.
Pamani's, which now I'm pronouncing correctly because there's
Thank
no
you.
T when you enunciate that. So
They'll
we had
tell
a
you
good time
right.
with that one.
They'll tell you what's right. We did the same. I don't know if we on
There-
our way home. We
There
hit
is
one.
a Pittsburgh, California with no H. So
Oh,
different
Ah.
Grand Prix potentially out there. you know.
sure, different group of people.
Yeah.
DC Doe. I'm pretty
I'm
sure
sorry.
that's DC.
Man, doing all this on my phone. And I
I'm
really
sorry.
got some fat
No,
thumbs.
no, that's
No, I
okay.
deserve
DC
it.
Doug commented on Mental's traffic video. You're doing California wrong.
But wait, hang under your hair. We've got a new iTunes review. Yay! Wow. So Tim N85, whoever you are, you get cookies or swag whenever we could see you if you tell us who Tim N85 is. Anyway, Tim said, awesome podcast, entertaining and informative. Reignited my passion for cars and racing. The hosts had great chemistry and are very knowledgeable. So obviously that's all lies. Thank you so much, Tim. We appreciate it.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's nice that somebody thinks that we are all of those things. So that's lovely.
Yes.
You
And
know who
you
else
know-
thinks
do you
we're all
know-
those things?
I was going to say, do you know who actually is very knowledgeable and has great chemistry?
Who is very knowledgeable. Yes. Tim N85, if you are a racer, if you are coming to any of our races, if you get in touch with us somehow, we will, after the end of the show, we'll tell you all how to get in touch with us. Give us your address and we'll send you some swag.
Totally. Speaking of Chrissy's mom, tonight, via Chrissy's sister, we got a whole bunch of cookies and stuff for the race.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I would also say, in addition to, if you need to get in touch with us, Tim N85, you go to everyoneracers.com. There's a contact us form. And to that end, I forgot to put this in there. Yeah, it'll email us right to our email address, which is also everyoneracers@gmail.com. So Larry Stuckel from the Steel Cities Course Crew, COARSE crew.
Get out. Yeah.
So
We know them.
he listened to our coverage of the show and said, thanks for the great coverage of the event. I was the course crew at PVGP. Goes actually into the history. They deliberately spell it that way. They was founded by Walt Matnosky at Nelson Ledges years before pit race ever existed. They've got 4 SCCA National Emergency Services licensed. They got course marshal, fire rescue members, and divisional and region licensed people. They have an entire history of this. If you go to the Steel Cities SCCA website, and we might actually reach out to some of those folks because they've apparently been part of that gearhead scene for decades. And they spell it that way on purpose, had a great conversation, and we appreciate the history lesson.
That's wonderful. I think,
Absolutely.
do you think that's one of the guys that were lugging hay bales rather? Hay bales rather. I'm sorry about that.
They do it all. They were throwing some hay bales out. They were cleaning up that oil after
They were flagging the race. They were doing all that stuff. All the things that has to get done so that idiots like us can drive around in circles, burning gasoline and wasting money. So thanks, guys. Speaking of driving around in circles, burning gasoline and wasting money, we're going to Thompson this weekend. Yeah, it's coming right up. We've got what you need to know and our virtual track walk. We know you've heard this all before, but some of the things are changed for this year. And, you haven't listened to this track walk in a year. You probably haven't been to the track in a year. So as you're listening on your drive to the track, because we know that's what you're probably doing, let's do this track walk, visualize it in your head, think it through, and let's do it together. But we've got some other stuff to talk about before we get to that track walk. So Mental, kick it off.
Obviously,
toss it off to you, Mental.
Toss off to things you need to know before you get there. Now, as has been the case for the last 3 years, your tech schedule is on the limits page. Go at your set time. If you're not going to be able to make your set time, the sooner you recognize that, go and talk to them, and either they'll schedule you first thing in the morning or they'll tell you when you can show up because they have an idea of where they've got some openings. We talked about it's only 88 cars, which is fine for that track, but that's a lot for that paddock. It is a very, very small paddock. So you want to minimize how much real estate you're taking up in that paddock. The infield is small. You go over the bridge, you're going to head to the left, and you can claim whatever you want. Now, right from the bridge is the teams that have the garages, and that's how the other half lives. And if you haven't signed up for a garage, I hate to break it to you, you're not getting one. Nearby, you've got Walmart, you've got 2 auto parts stores south, 1 exit. Webster in Massachusetts is north and has more of the other stuff. You've got gas stations north or south, but south is a little bit cheaper because Connecticut has less taxes than Massachusetts. There's actually very little right around the track. It's a lovely little town, but there's just nothing going on right there. The track does have a restaurant, and there's the ice cream shop over by the golf course. Usually Dunkin's truck, it's going to stay there until their sales go bad. So there'll be a food truck there. And if you enjoy it, go there often, keep those people in business, right? The potluck is Saturday. We are going to have a link in our show notes. You've probably also already seen it in the various forums, but you're going to need to sign up, bring your food, bring serving spoons, plates, forks, bring a chair so you have a place to sit down and some drink. Now, there is no water or power hookups anywhere in the paddock for your RV. So bring a generator, or you're going to have to toss a pump in the swampy lake. And one other thing, I don't know if this is later too, but if you've got your car off the trailer and you've got your paddock area set up and you're running out of real estate, you can on Thursday, and I believe Friday before the track goes hot, hide your trailer in the infield of the banked oval course. And that gets it out of the way, and it's not in the way of anything right there.
You can. No, that's correct.
Yes. Okay. So, and it's just less space that's taken up by something you're not going to need until Sunday, unless your car blows up, in which case, have a drink and wait till the track goes cold, then go claim your trailer again.
Yep. It's usually there's just a few trailers over there, and then Scott McMichael sets up his camper over there by himself. So
you don't have to cross the track. You can get there without crossing the track. So you don't have to, so you don't have to wait.
I thought maybe they got nervous if they see people start going in there when the track is hot. All right. Then
it's far enough away from walls.
Okay yeah. They just don't like you sitting by the wall on the way in. But once you're way in there, like if something hits you all the way in there,
you're
like
in trouble.
There's bigger problems. Like there's really much bigger problems than that true. Based on all the stuff that's in the way. Yeah.
For the potluck, don't bring paper, plastic. Don't bring any of those. You need a serving spoon. Bring a drink. There will be drinks. I just saw that somebody's bringing the gin and tonic truck. They're serving cart. So there's plenty of drinks I think are going to be had, but no need for plasticware. I got that. That's part of me setting.
And you got your paper plates too. Got a lot.
I got my paper plates. Yeah. So you just need a serving spoon. That'd be helpful.
And bring it warm. If it involves being heated,
wonderful.
There's no capability to heat those things. Do it in your paddock.
Yep. Okay. I am going to talk a little bit more about the track timing and other fun things. We talked a little bit about some of the stuff Mental did. Track entry is Thursday, 3 to 10 p.m. and then again on Friday at 7 a.m. There is no entry without a wristband after 10, and that's when they stop giving them out. So make sure you are there by 10 o'clock. They want to leave. They want to go home. So you have to be there. Racing on Saturday is from 9 to 6, Sunday noon to 5. Used to be till 6:30, but now it's a little bit shorter. So they just made that change recently. Testing day is run by the track, $200 all in. So there's no, it doesn't matter how many people you're getting to drive. So it's definitely one of the best testing days that we have, especially on the East Coast. But it's a really decent.
Support it if you value that cheap track time.
Right.
Make some
especially the way the other tracks do it is not as good. This is very conducive.
Often the other ones will do it by head. How many people you need a sticker, you need their own wristband. Only those people can go out. This is awesome. Also in theory, in the past, they have allowed passengers an instruction, which is also awesome. I know that I've taken people out in the car just to see what the track is like. So I'm not sure that they're going to do that this year, but you should take advantage. But sign up on the Thompson site now, register on, I think you can register on site usually. Testing runs from 10 o'clock to 1:15 and then 1:40 to 5 historically. There will be a track walk on Friday from 6 to 7:30 per Lemons. I know that it is happening. They usually call it as soon as track is cold. So at 5 o'clock, they'll probably go over the loudspeaker. Hopefully you can hear it if you are up in the paddock far away from the loudspeakers. But they'll tell you when exactly we're allowed to go out there. But as soon as the track is clear and clean, they're usually allowing us to go out there. I don't know that this is official, but I think we might be having a track walk, Chris.
We might be. Some of it's going to be weather dependent. It is supposed to be pouring
rain.
Friday afternoon. Maybe I'll just bring my flip flops and rain
Galoshes.
slicker, and we'll do it anyway.
Okay.
But how about this? If anyone's interested in doing a track walk, talk to me. Maybe we'll do one. If no one's interested, I'm not going to do it again. I mean, I know where I'm going, but if other people would like to help, then we can do that.
Are you guys going to bring your scribbled on map that Chrissy's notorious for? Because then you could do not a virtual, but a presentation. If it's pouring down rain, everybody could just sit in the
I mean, I'm
garage.
staring at it right here. It's across from me.
But it's not a colorful one. It's not a finished.
It's not,
one.
but it shows the track.
I mean, sure, we can bring it. Yes, let's just do that. That's a great idea.
Cool. Sorry.
Okay, so it is okay to paddock on the grass. Some of this is repetitive, what Mental said, but on the left, as you go around down the access road, and then the Black Lake and surrounding the area, that's free for all. No paddock up on the hill by turn 10.
That's where they have the bonfire. It's up on that hill.
Oh, all the way up. Don't keep
Yes.
going and going. Yes.
Don't go up the hill.
No, there's plenty of room in the couple different little platforms they have as you go up the hill, but don't go all the way up because that's where the bonfire is. Good. Yes, that is helpful. You probably will want to bring some bug spray. If you are anywhere near this lake, if we get enough rain, this is what's happened in the past. You've gotten enough rain, everything becomes a bog, a marshy type thing. So not only will everything that you own be in a marshy swamp type place, the bugs, because of that black swamp, they get pretty bad. So make sure you bring some bug spray. Let's see. Some garages, all the pavement is reserved. We already talked about that. So that's good. You can park your trailers in the grass. We talked about that. Fueling in hot pits. Fuel at hot pits or the pumps. Leave your gigantic Texas-sized truck out of pit lane, dude. Do that. It's awful. The fuel prices are totally reasonable. They bring in an extra tanker truck for the refill. Make sure you put your credit card. This is a confusing pump.
It is such a pain in the
It is
butt.
really confusing. Put your credit card back in the machine when you're pumping to finish your transaction. It's convoluted, and sometimes it won't give you a receipt. It's usually just easier to take a picture if you didn't want to remember.
Let's make that very clear. If you want to pump gas, you swipe your card, you pick your pump your gas, go back, swipe your card, and that's time number 2. That closes the loop and gives you a receipt. Otherwise, the next time you go, the loop isn't closed. You put your card in, it just spits out a receipt from last time. It doesn't do anything, and you're sitting there saying, "Why don't this work?" Ask me how I know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't do it right.
And you can be the
sometimes.
smart person when someone who doesn't listen to this show screws that up, because I got to do that a couple of years ago. No, bro, you never been here before. This is totally what you do.
Yeah.
Or I just go into the store and be like, it doesn't work.
And one more thing about that, when we say don't park your Texas-sized edition pickup truck on pit lane, you can't get to pit lane, but there's a metal, silver fence that's there. But so it basically goes, if you're looking from the south, it's garages, paddock of the people who have garages, and then a fire lane, and then the silver fence. And inevitably, some jerk off in a giant pickup truck parks in that fire lane by the silver, especially in the corner. And I say, "Hey guys, you really shouldn't be parking there. They're going to ask you to leave." And they go, "No, we're not going to stay here. We're going to be fine."
We were here first and we're fine.
Right. And guess what? They have to leave later. And it's always some idiot in a BMW with a big pickup truck. So anyway, don't be that guy. And they're not listening. So this is just preaching to the choir.
We're all the people that say, "Gosh, those people again."
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it happens every year. They see a spot, they think it's no one's. And then most of the time we're not
They
interested
think,
in fighting,
we're
fighting
so
them.
cool, we're clever. We got this good spot right by the front. Isn't that great? Why didn't everybody else take this spot? Ha ha ha. Yeah. There's a
'Cause it's
reason.
not your spot.
'Cause it's-
Okay.
You're not smart. You're late.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. You're good.
That's like
Mental.
Minecraft there, mental.
Okay. Top tip. Mend the blend line. It's short, at the fastest part of the track. Watch for blend line dive bombers. Because there is extra space when you're going into turn one does not mean you should drive 3 or 4 wide in the blend line where people will be coming onto the track. That is a no-no. Do not do that. It is dangerous for the people coming onto the track. It is dangerous for the people that don't think you should be driving in that lane. So do not drive on the inside unless you're coming onto the track. And I believe they will call you for blend line violations at this place because it is that dangerous. So make sure that you are watching where you're going with that blend line. First time on track, note it, and then don't pass over it when you go around. We already talked about it, but the potluck is on Saturday. I did previously advertise that it was going to be on Friday, but I have moved it to Saturday. Bring food at 6:30. So track ends at 6. Bring your food at 6:30. We're going to eat at 7-ish. I always give the ish. It is not 7 on the dot because sometimes we have no food at 7 o'clock and all the food arrives at 7:10. So I will tell you when you're allowed to eat. That's how it works.
Otherwise, people just stand there
With their
in front of
plate.
the empty food table saying,
And they
"Where's
have
our
one
food?"
salad because that's the salad that I brought. And everybody says, this is stupid. And I'm like, if you brought the food and you put it out there on time, then we could eat. So bring some food, please. Don't bring potato salad. Bring
Otherwise you
something.
see-
crowd, I
flip
feel
out-
like the
flip out, Chrissy.
Thompson crowd
You-
is usually very strong potluck people.
We have done a really,
are.
we absolutely have. But I also thought the same of some other ones we've had, and they haven't been great. New Jersey was off the hook. So if you brought
great.
something, we had food left over, which we don't always have. So Pitt, we did not have food left over. We didn't have enough food for the people that came late. We did for New Jersey. So bring food, please, please, please. You can eat if you bring some food. Thanks. And I'm sure we will be doing probably, I don't know that it is or is not, but it probably is Lemons for Love, and it's one of Aaron's favorite races, so we'll probably be doing something for him that day. So bring some money too. Weather looks great. Less hot than it has been in the past. We've gone to this race and sometimes it's been 97 degrees. Actually,
with all the humidity.
with
You're
all the
just-
humidity.
You're just basically standing in 7 feet of boiling water.
We're used to it. You're just bothered. You're not. So that's why it's a
We
problem.
don't
for
like
you.
it either, but
No. I'm
Mhm.
not saying that, but it's you seem to, it affects you more.
Yes.
Rain, as Chris said, rain Friday afternoon. I think there should be no rain, 80s-ish for the rest of the weekend. And I think Mental glossed over this, but the ice cream place at the racetrack is amazeballs. Usually on, I want to say it's Saturday night, I think we've gone. The line is astronomically long, but they have a huge variety. Is it cash only? It might be cash only. I feel like
Well,
we were
hey, bring
scrambling
some
last
money.
year.
and to get there from the
Oh,
track,
yeah. Thank
walk
you.
over the bridge, go past the little shacks on the right, go past the shower shack, go straight down the road past the parking lot at the end, but stay straight and to the right of the bushes, and you end up in
It
the
like
ice cream place.
there's another
Yeah.
parking lot. Like you,
Yeah.
from the track, you can see the restaurant.
Yep.
The
It's on
ice
the
cream
other
is
side of the clubhouse, but it's to
beyond
the
it.
right. You don't have to climb the hill around the clubhouse. Just kind of walk along the edge of the grass in the parking lot, and you end up over at the ice cream place.
so good. They have like
Yeah.
every kind. Yeah, can't say enough great things about this place, especially when it's
Summertime is exactly the time for ice cream.
totally. And
Go
you're like,
Friday night.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
not
yeah.
having a potluck.
Totally
It's
go
going to be
Friday night.
raining. You
Be
can sit
fantastic.
in your paddock eating ice
Ooh,
cream.
We might have to do that.
I think
that sounds
so.
that sounds like a great idea. Okay, enough about the track. The track amenities. Let's hear about the track. Chris is going to give us our track walk. Let's go.
We're going to do our track walk. Well, please, Mental Chrissy, interject as anything that you think of as we go
Okay.
along here, because I just go off on a roll. Chrissy said, mind the blend line. She's absolutely right. Mind the blend line. When you're coming onto the track, this is very simple. Stay all the way on the shoulder until turn 1. That's it. If you are coming down the straight, do not cross the blend line and go into that very far right lane, even though you're totally going to win by passing those people who were on the left. No, you're not. You're just making it more dangerous for people. Yeah, because of people like that. It's why we got spun out at 115 going down that straight once. Fortunately, didn't hit anything else, but that's not a good setup for success for anybody. So as you're going down the straight, notice that it's not straight. It's definitely not straight. There's a solid kink kind of right before the blend line starts. And it also kind of tightens up there. And that's a place where people get squeezed a lot. So be mindful of your position there and that you're not going to get squeezed off by someone. And also that you're not the person doing the squeezing. Leave a lane. Make sure there's enough room for everybody. Watch your mirrors if you're a car that is typically getting passed. And if you're a passer, make sure that there's enough room for you to get by. If you're going fast enough, you'll just get by later. It's okay. But there's a lot of sketchiness that happens at that little kink right there. So be careful of that on the straight. Of note on the straight, as you're coming down the straight, past track on, the track has elevation change. It goes up significantly there. To the point where it will really help your braking zone if you're braking in the uphill part of that track. But then also note that it goes away right around the one board or a little after the one board and actually starts to go downhill. So all that nice traction you've had as you're going up the hill, you lose as you crest it past the one. So you're going to have to watch your braking pressure for that as you're there past one. Usually braking around the 3 gets you off the gas for the turn in for 1. I usually stop braking a little after the one board if you're not going to trail the brakes. Otherwise, this is a perfect trail the brakes corner. If you don't, you're not good at trail braking, if you even want to practice it, this is a perfect corner to trail your brakes into because it lets you carry a little more speed at the end of the straight. And you've got room going into turn 1 to be able to do that. So give it a try. Now, turn 1.
I love this corner of all the tracks we go to and everything we do. This one, it really does. It's very simple to get through safely. But if you're trying to really work on your racecraft, this is a corner to practice it. And you can start separating the people who understand how to drive through a corner versus the people who understand how to drive through this corner.
Yeah. And this corner flows into the next ones. So that you have to be careful about that too. There's also a pretty big curb on the inside of one that people get kind of pushed up onto all the time because they stuck their nose into the inside of someone who didn't know they were there. So just be mindful of that. All right. 1, as you turn it initially, it is off camber. So you're not going to have the traction you think because you're going down and off camber. But as you kind of get through the turn and past the apex, you get that camber back. So you will get more traction in. So I like to, if you can, trail the brakes in just a bit, power on your way out. Your track out on this is basically the end of the left side curbing. And if you go a little too far, there are some pretty solid ditches there. If you put your Honda Civic off there, it will tear the splitter half off. Yep. Consumer advice. Turn 2 is really just an extension of 1 and a setup for 3. Get through it however you're going to get through it. If there's no one around you, I like to track out about 2/3 of the way and then come back to the right all the way for 3. If you are passing people, this is a decent place to pass people as long as you can get on their left and they see you well before they're going to turn in for 3. Too many people try to make that pass there and can't get up far enough, and the person that they're passing never sees them because they're looking down the track and turns into them. And that's the passing car's fault for not making themselves making sure the other car's aware of them.
Presenting is the phrase I've heard
Presenting.
before.
That's a good one. Yes, that's a great one. Yeah. So just be mindful of that if you're passing because it's a good spot. Turn 3 is a pretty standard 90-degree left. There is a very important flag station, though, on the inside of turn 3. It tells you what's going on around the other side because you can't see it. So keep an eye out there. Now, it is slightly off camber on the outside. So watch out for that. And it goes uphill kind of right after you're out of 3. It's also a little hard because you can't see through the corner all the way. So you kind of have to visualize it to keep your speed up through there. Turn 4 is the very tight hairpin by the parking lot that you drove through when you came in. It's also called the clubhouse turn. I've tried a few different lines here. I think the fastest is a single apex late, like 2/3 of the way around the corner. And then you kind of push wide on track out. But realistically, in traffic, pick a lane. There's going to be essentially 2 lanes going through this corner at any time. As you're coming on the straight between 3 and 4, you're eyeing the traffic ahead of you and saying, all right, where's the car that's going to hold everyone up? That's the lane I don't want to be in. And you pick the other one. It's really how it goes. But if there's no one there, you're slowing way down here, and as it's uphill coming into the corner, you can slow down pretty quickly. But again, like turn 1, once you pass a certain spot, the track actually starts to level off and then go downhill. And it's when you do a track walk there, you can see all the rubber that starts right around that of people who have been braking hard coming up with the uphill. And as soon as they lose the pressure of the hill, their brakes lock up. It's amazing how that works. So you have to reduce your braking pressure as you get to that point and plan for it.
Is it my imagination, or is the track like very wide there and then narrows again very quickly? Because you mentioned that there's 2 clear lanes, and that's the one you're picking there. But so many times I've ended up in that corner with 3, and I'm going, oh, this has gotten ugly.
Yeah, it tightens up kind of in that corner. It's like a funnel coming into the corner. There's plenty of room for people to wash out wide, and then as you come around the corner, it tightens right up a bit. But there is some runoff curbing. I don't recommend you go on it. It's not real friendly curbing. And then there's some gravel beyond that, but it's there for safety, but don't use it.
I think it might even kind of kick you back on track a little bit.
Yeah. End of braking on this I like is just after turn in to try to get some weight on the nose to get that car around that corner, because you need it because it's such a tight corner. This is a second gear corner for a lot of cars. So 3rd for others. Okay, 5 to 6. This is under the bridge, and there's technically 2 corners, but they have to be taken as one. I've done it a few different ways, and it really depends on the traffic and your car. The biggest thing about this, though, is you need a very, very late apex in turn 6 as it goes off camber. Once it hits the oval, as soon as you hit that oval, boom, it just falls off on the camber. You lose a lot of traction. There is a patch of pavement on the inside on the left. It's a triangle. I think it's fairly new. We call it the Dorito. The Dorito should be your apex. If you apex on the Dorito, you'll be fine. That's all right. Make sure you apex at the Dorito. And always there.
And once I've heard the Dorito from him twice, and then suddenly I saw it. Now you can't unsee it. So if you get a chance, go out there and visually acquire the Dorito. It's obvious once it's there.
If you walk over the bridge, you might be able to, you can see it from the bridge. So even if you're not on the track, you don't want to do a track walk. If you walk from one side to the other, you should be able to see it.
Yeah. Yes. Because the problem becomes if you don't track out, or if you don't apex that late, you end up just washing out wide into the next corner, and there's a tiny bit of curb, and then it's just big dirt ditch. So
like car destroying ditch. It really is. So yes, if you early apex, you're in big trouble to go out there.
And so there's you see someone who's going to early apex, it really helps you set them up for a pass, because they're going to end up washing out, and you can get them.
Shoot right up the inside. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's 2 ways through this corner. And we've already talked about it. It's important either way that you end up at that apex. But you can either just kind of come in wide, gradually tighten up and hit your apex. Or I've done this as a double apex, like a V too, where come in, Mental, if you move the map over a little bit to the left. So come in out of V from the left, hit the apex on the inside as you're coming into the corner. Yeah, right about there. And then go out under the bridge will kind of be the very base of your V, and then tighten it up as you go back around out of the other way. Sometimes in traffic, you just end up kind of stuck on an inside lane or an outside lane. Okay, so be it. The key to remember is late apex because of the loss of camber as you're coming out, and just watch for passing opportunities for people who are doing it wrong, because there's a lot.
It's
All
really
right.
only a two car lane track there. So
Yep.
you may just take a terrible line and go on the outside if you know that you're going to be able to get a better line getting out of there. And as you're going to get to say,
Yeah.
the track opens as soon as you get onto the different set of track, the different tarmac. So good.
Yep, you're going onto the stock car oval there, and it widens out. You can have 4 cars there. There's all kinds of room there for people. But then it all funnels down back as you hit turns 7 and 8. This is the top of the oval. Essentially, there are 2 lanes going through this again, an inside and an outside. I've tried it a bunch of different ways. In our car, taking the outside line is faster when there's limited traffic. And by outside line, I mean there's always a line of cones. Stay up on the banking until you're about at the cones. Brake on the banking, turn in hard on the banking, ease off your steering when you hit the bottom, because again, you lose all that camber, and then roll into your gas. Your apex is about 2/3 of the way through the corner. But that's faster if you're using the banking and loading the suspension correctly as you go through it. And it's going to require you to have some different steering inputs as you're going through because of the different pressures. But in our cars, that works a little better. The other way is go all the way to the inside and hug the inside of the track all the way around. And if you watch your traffic going in, you'll see which lane ends up best. But sometimes there's 3 lanes going in, and it's going to have to come down to 2. So find out where the best spot is going to be.
And I would humbly add, because they do set up cones towards the top of the oval, and on a good day, they'll last 1, maybe even 2 laps before they
they last pretty well.
Oh, they do.
They last more than most places. Not like New Hampshire where they're all gone immediately. Yeah. These ones last fairly well because there's not really much
kicked.
They do sometimes.
I've seen them get scooped up by cars and end up in radiators, and not busting radiators, but clogging space, especially if you. It's
kind of like the first ones as you're coming into the banking, and maybe the last ones. But for the most part, the ones they're really up high. You shouldn't be up there. Like that's
no,
like,
you shouldn't.
Don't go up there.
If somebody else goes up there and they knock one of those cones,
then
now it's in the middle of the track, and just keep an eye out.
Yeah, they're usually pretty good.
Now, as you're coming out of this corner, there's a big bump. So that in the pavement seam between the oval and the road course, and that's kind of in a spot where a lot of people. No, you were wrong.
No, you were right. Go
back
up.
Where you were. There's a big bump there, and there used to be some yellow paint, and you can see on the yellow paint where the big bump is. And it's where all the black marks are, where people have hit it. So my recommendation is, as you're coming out of this, either stay all the way tight to the grass until it straightens out, or you skip over the next lane over and go into the 3rd lane as you're coming out, because then you avoid the really big bump that's there. And once you have driven over all 3 of those lanes and you see it, you're gonna remember that.
Or you hit, or somebody squishes you and they decide to go 3 wide, and you all of a sudden decide that you have to hit that bump. You will not do it again.
You're gonna cringe. It's
you
bad.
will. It's not. This is not car crushing, but it's still
it hurts.
Jarring.
A lot of times, if
it hurts your soul.
Yes, it does.
If I'm getting pushed wide there, I just open up and go further left and kind of go out towards the wall just to not hit that bump. It's not really any slower. Point for the star and Thompson. Usually at that point, it just gets you out there. Yep.
That's on the track wall. You should probably say that, because there's a lot of good visuals when you're, especially to make sure that you're looking up and looking down the track. It says Thompson with a big on the inside of that wall. And so
there's a star at the start of Thompson. That's the spot. And when you see it, you'll remember it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Turn 9. This is coming off of the oval into the chute. The way I see most people do this is they brake before the pavement change and slow down as they're coming into the chute.
Tempting. It's so tempting.
There are 2 lanes on this, inside and outside. But the way it works best in our cars, if you clip the apex at the edge of the oval where it leaves on the inside, and then once you're over the bump, then brake in a straight line heading towards the hill and the parking lot. And if you're lucky, the anal trailer will be there. That was a great reference point. There's also a wonderful corner station right on the kind of outside of that corner, that's important so you know what's happening going on in the chute. So I know you're going to want to brake before the bump. If anything, if you're super tempted to find, maybe lift a little, okay, but you usually can get it done by getting over the bump, let the car settle, brake hard in a straight line. That will set you up for the next left into, diving turn. So it's part of the chute. It's left in the chute, and then you have to go right into diving turn. So brake in a straight line, stay left. And when I say stay left, I mean do not track out. You brake in a straight line, make your left turn, and then end up along the left side of the track between 9 and 10.
And when you get this right, you'll feel it immediately, but recognize that no one else is going to. So as if you're running up on someone you're trying to pass, and you're not going to touch your brakes for a second, keep in mind they might. So be prepared for people to do exactly what Chris just told you not to do. Yeah.
I'm trying to give you the best way and also what's usually going to happen. So, again, turn in, late enough that you're parallel with the track between 9 and 10, because it's setting yourself up for 10. Because the end of 9 doesn't matter. The start of 9 is what matters. That's where you're carrying speed off the oval. The end is just setting you up for 10. So, yeah. So 10 diving turn. This is a setup corner for 11, mostly. It's a 90-degree right off camber downhill. So it's all kinds of bad things that are going on there. You can get through it too wide. You can pass people there. That's okay. You're going to track all the way out after 10. If your car is on the slower side, you may not need to brake. If you do need to brake, it'll be right around the end of the curbing on the left-hand side as you're coming out of 10. And, in medium speed cars, I think just a brush of the brake is probably all you need to set the nose, because you're going to go out then into 11, which is just a setup for the straight. And when you're in 10 looking toward 11, it looks like there's not much. You can't see through the current torn. It doesn't look like there's a lot of places to go. There's lots of room there. So after you lift or maybe touch the brake at the curbing for 10, ease back into the gas, start your right turn toward the apex for 11. And really, you can carry a lot of speed that you don't think you can. And there's a lot of track on there. Plus, 11 starts to go uphill, which is going to compress your suspension and give you more grip. So even if you're understeering as you're starting your turn for 11, it's going to catch once the track starts to go up. The other part of that, though, is what goes up must come down. There's a crest of the hill right there. I've seen lots of people go over the crest of that hill, not straight, still loaded up. They get a little squirrely as they crest that hill when the suspension is no longer compressed. So do what you can to get straight before you go over that hill. But watch out, because on the other side of the hill, the track tightens up. And all of a sudden, I see people over in the grass on the left-hand side because they didn't have the turn done before the hill. So that's the best thing you can do for safe for 11, is get your turn done before you crest that hill as you're going onto the straight. And then you're on the straight. If you're going to if you're going to go off the track, it's immediately on the right. And Chrissy?
So at the top of that hill, it is concerning because it's blind. You can't really see where the end of that track, where you're going on the track. If you were all the way to the left-hand side when you're going over there, you may run out of track. There is not much track over there. So I'm going to say that when we were there last year, there is usually a mark on the pavement in the middle of the track that if you hit that mark, I think it's like paint. Am I wrong on this? Right? There is a mark on the middle of that pavement, right at or it's either at the crest of the hill or it's right before the crest of the hill. And I use that as and you're not supposed to be looking down, but if you're looking out, you're seeing turn 1, which is scary and far away. So don't look that far. But if you at least to be able to line yourself up and close to that line, and again, this was last year and years past, but I think there's something on the track that will give you some kind of marker to know that you are that you're in a good space to be close to where that track is coming, where to be in the middle of the track and actually have track when you get over that hill. Second, also at the crest of that hill, there is a flag station. That flag station is very important because it will tell you everything. That guy is very concerned about what is happening ahead, hence Blind Hill. Sometimes the track will back up furiously on the straight air quotes. You can't see that, and you may have stopped traffic right on the other side. So every flag station is important. There's a lot of kind of blind places in this track that the flagging stations are going to fanatically tell you if there is something wrong, and you need to keep your eyes up and watching every flag station. But this is one that's very important because it does stack up there.
Absolutely.
Although, as I say, this one's very important. I'm like, well, there's one in diving turn that if something is going down the hill, you can't see that. There's one that is right on the other side of the oval under the bridge because you can't see what's on the straight.
Yep.
So really, there
because you can't see.
Right.
Yeah, the one in turn one is not quite necessary because you can kind of see what's going around up to 2, but still
3 you're going to need to see what's going on. The one that's in the clubhouse turn can see all like a 360, so they'll be able to tell you what's going on the other side of the track. So all of them are really important, but there's a couple that are super important.
Yep, it's a fun track. There's definitely some idiosyncrasies you need to be aware of, and hopefully this reminded you what those are. But play nice. We're all here to have a good time. No one wants a car crashed. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
No. And well, one thing is like it's supposed to rain on Friday, so consider taking your car out early because you may not need that much wet practice. Just an idea. Okay. So I guess just the tip. I'll do just the tip. We didn't really have anything here. I started writing something, but I was thinking about how important it is to make sure that you're drinking enough water and staying hydrated at this race. Because of the humidity, because it's hot, it's not going to be as hot as usually is, but you lose a lot of your water very quickly by just racing for a long time. Standing in the sun, it's usually pretty sunny, and like there's not a whole lot of shade unless you're back under the trees and far away. So make sure that you're drinking a lot of water, keeping track of how much you're actually peeing, and making sure that you're drinking plenty. So I'm going to that's my just the tip. That's what I was thinking about. It's easy to get away from it, especially in these hot, humid races.
Yeah. I think we're bringing 22 gallons of water for our team this weekend.
And we don't have as many drivers as we always do. So
yeah, it'll be important to make sure you're staying hydrated.
Mm-hmm. Bring your Camelback. It's a little bit late to get a cool shirt, but you should really have a cool shirt. Don't consider sharing with your friends because that's disgusting. And
it's so gross.
You will hate yourself. So don't do that. There is a pro shop there, but I have no idea if they have cool shirts there. But they probably have minimum things like socks that you might be able to get.
Yeah, I think they have them, but like very limited selection type stuff.
Pretty much, but consider getting one if you possibly can. Maybe you stop at a pro shop on your way to the track, or get one on Friday, because they're very helpful in making sure that you're regulating your body temperature, especially if your cars always get hot. So regardless of if you think you're hot or not, it's a good idea getting a cool shirt. Bring a Camelback. Walmart sells them, so Camelback water bladder to be able to drink water in the car. Super helpful. I always get thirsty, so it's really nice to have. And we've forgotten ours in the past, so you can always go grab one at Walmart. And so just keep up with it. And I'm not even going to lecture you on drinking too much or not enough, so whatever. Okay, that's my just the tip for you.
Because I live in the desert. It has been 120 degrees for quite some time. We've had some folks that are working on jets and some folks that are flying the jets, and not quite to like emergency room business, but we've had some dehydration issues where some folks had to wave a flag going, I can't do this next thing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm basically peeing brown at this
Mhm.
point. So yeah.
Yeah. And don't get
you
it to that
sound like your
point.
parents. You sound like your parents, but then you get dehydrated once and you never, ever want to do that again.
And it's hard to recover from. And and you just feel bad for not even doing something to yourself. It's not like you drank too much. If you drink too much, then it's your own fault. If you just don't drink enough water and Gatorade and other things like that, then you're just dumb. So, and if we're probably going to be close to the pit entrance. So if you ever need water, just stop over and we'll give it to you because it's worth it. So we have plenty of it here. Okay. Moving on. Next show promo.
This week.
What?
What are we doing next week?
Your Zoom cut out.
He's
so that's
so
why
excited about it. He's so excited.
What are we doing next week?
That's better. Okay. I think we are going to delay a hangover show. I'm going to have Pat Carotti, I'm going to say, aka Angry Corvair from GRM is going to swing by, and we're going to be talking about his tips for keeping that project moving, especially in a small, yes, I'm sorry. He's from the GRM board forum. He's going to tell us about his tips for keeping that project moving, especially in a small garage with a family job and non-racing hobbies. That sounds great. We can always use an extra aspect of extra thought process of how to make all those things work. But
that's a good dude. And he's a multi-time challenge competitor. And he just finished up this long time kind of project for him of I think it's 4 years plus in the making. It's a mid-engine LT1 powered C4 Corvette suspended Corvair. It is cool.
And it's his second challenge Corvair, which is how he became known as Angry Corvair. He's done some cool stuff.
And he's just a regular guy. He's a brake engineer by trade. He's got all kinds of great brake info knowledge, but his shop is just a normal 2-car suburban garage, and he learned to weld in this product from what I understand. So
and he's still been keeping the family truckster running and does all of his own maintenance. So he has to roll things in and roll things out. He's us.
Totally.
Yeah.
Good to have him.
Awesome.
Great. Well, anything else?
No,
not today.
I guess not.
See you at the track.
Sorry, it's a short show, but we know how to do this track. You guys,
right, exactly.
And most of our listeners are probably listening to this as they're driving there. Well, right now. So thank you.
So we'll see you. We'll see you at Thompson, everybody.
See you soon.
Yes.
Thanks for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's free. Then go to iTunes like Tim N85 and give us a 5-star rating. Tim doesn't apparently hate us, but he still gave us 5 stars. Tell us why. If you have any questions or ideas, drop us a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers. Email us, everyone.racers@gmail.com. Text mental 484-243-0455. Find us on Instagram and Twitter, everyone.racers, YouTube and Facebook, Everyone Racers, Reddit /E1R. Thanks again. And until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless you're parked in the swampy lake at Thompson after it rains a lot, and then you're just trying to keep the mosquitoes away, then just keep the wheels down.